Alrighty, so we are in our very first week of January, and the week started with what was for me a kind of a bummer announcement that Donna Downey's Inspiration Wednesdays is going to be discontinued. So I was like, oh no, what am I going to do without my Inspiration Wednesdays? And I decided that I would just start turning on the camera and producing a video for YouTube, and instead of looking for something to replace a video I watch, I would do art instead. So what I want for this year is to be wildly inspired, so that's what the name of the series is going to be. It's a kind of a riff off of Inspiration Wednesdays, and these videos will go live every Wednesday. I'm going to be working in a 5x8 Delusions journal. This is the smaller journal than the usual ones that we've been seeing out there. You can see it's really tiny in comparison. This one's 9x12, and the paper seems to be a little bit thicker than the paper in these journals, but that's not a problem because gesso and gel medium and layers of acrylic paint are going to take this journal to a very tough place. It's going to make it really strong, super strong. And you can also, you know, I'm feeling this, and it does feel the same. It feels just like cardstock. What I'm going to do is a lot of reinforcement with tape down the seam and stuff like that to make this journal workable. So I want to start this experience out with a bit of decoration on the cover. I always have an issue with this little thing here, this elastic. Even though I like having it to close the book, it gets in the way when I want to actually decorate the cover. So I'm going to take it off because that will make my life so much easier. So I'm just using a sharp pair of scissors and popping that off. And then if I wanted to, I could use an old Smashbook elastic or create my own binding for this so that I can close the book as it blooms. That's what I call it when a book gets thick. I call it blooming. But yeah, the elastic just really gets in the way for me. So I just went ahead and removed that. And we're going to start this series off with decorating our cover. So let's get started with some white gesso. In order to get the kind of texture that I like when I'm starting a page with gesso, I'm going to blot. So I'm just going to grab a piece of printer paper and burnish that with my hand, lift it up, and get a really nice scrumptious texture from that. So this is dry, and I've grabbed myself some ephemera from my ephemera drawer, and what I've got here is a piece of a book called Anthology of Modern French Poetry. I've got some dictionary pages, I've got a little piece of a music page, and I've got these painted papers. I can't remember where I got these, but there is definitely paint on here. I can see some gold paint on here. And then I printed off a photograph. This is Gloria Swanson, who's an actress from way back. I think she might have even been in silent movies. I'm not sure. But anyway, what I was going for with this series was not a wild as in cowgirl, but wild as in bohemian, and that kind of sensual, very feminine feeling. And so I thought I would start my series off with a cover that really reflects that. So I'm going to put down some of this ephemera to start things off using my matte medium and some regular gel as well. So the matte medium I'm going to use for the thinner papers, and then the gel medium I'm going to use for the thicker papers that take a little bit of oomph to get stuck down. And I'm gluing mostly to cover up the little rivets that I've got in this, but also to add some interest to the page. or to the cover, because interesting covers make me happy. So this is mostly dry, and I'm going to put a layer of, actually I'm going to put a couple of different colors of paint. I want to go with something that makes sense with this paper. So I'm using transparent red iron oxide and quinacridone nickel azo gold, and then I'm going to be putting some fine gold and some Titan buff on this as well. So I'm going to start with the lighter color, which is the nickel azo gold. Just using a big brush. This is a Simply Simmons flat wash brush. Putting some water on the brush so that I get some good flow. And this brush is probably pretty manky because it's been sitting in water for a week like all my brushes. But I'm just doing a wash. Using the same brush. Kind of creates almost a framed effect. And I don't want to mess with that too much, but I do want to blot a little bit. Actually, I think I'll use tissue, because if I use paper towel, it's going to leave the impression of the pattern in the towel in this, and I don't really want that right now. I kind of just want, yeah, that. No pattern, just almost a distressed look. That's scrumptious. And then I'm going to grab some fine gold, iridescent fine gold. I use all golden paints, but you don't have to. You can use whatever paints you have available to you. You're not going to get the same effect from a crafter's paint, for example, because most crafters' acrylics are quite opaque, and they don't end up with this kind of glowy transparency that you get with golden, but make a go of it. And then if you're finding that you really want more oomph, then pick yourself up a couple of your favorite colors of golden. You can get them from Dick Blick, or if you've got a fine art supply store near you, they definitely have them. So this is just a speedball brayer. This is meant to be used with, or is this a speedball? No, I don't think it is. I'm not sure what brand this is, but it's meant to be used with printmaking. You can find these at Michael's, and I have two. I have one, this one's really hard, and then I have a softer rubber one that's a bit larger. And I use them both. But I love what the gold paint did in this paper. Let's see if you can see that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Yum! Yummy! Okay, give this a quick dry. Now I want to get some smudging around the paper. I think what I'm going to use for that is some Portfolio. These are water-soluble oil pastels that are really inexpensive. You can get them for like $4.99. They're really cheap. I'm looking for my black one. There we go. So I'm going to use the black, and I'm going to use this kind of pretty brownish color. And the reason that I'm doing this is just to give these pieces of paper just a little bit of dimension. So I'm going along the left edge and the bottom on all of them. So what I'm doing here is creating the illusion of a light source. So the light would be coming from here and above. And I could do that along the whole edge of the book, but for now I'm just going to leave it as it is. Now because I don't want this to be reactivated when I start gluing and painting, I'm going to put a layer of workable fixative on this. This is the Blair very low odor spray fixative. And this won't prevent all smearing, but it's going to prevent a lot of smearing. And we'll give this a dry, and I'll be back when this is completely dry. Okay, this is dry, and I'm going to glue down my photograph now. And I'm going to use gel medium for this, just so that I get a really tight seal. Oops, that's gesso. Wouldn't want to do that. One of the tricks to getting a photograph down with no air bubbles is to cover the back with gel, cover the surface you're gluing on with gel, carefully place your image, and then start to smooth out from the center out, and that is going to reduce the amount of bubbles and wrinkles that you get. Once you've got it down, you can smooth out your brush strokes, or if you're brave, you can blot as well. So I'm just really gently blotting. That's just real quick. I don't want to pull up any of the pigment in this photograph at all. And then while I have my gel out, I have this really pretty border. This is sticky backed, but it's such a pain to get the sticky back off. I'll give it a shot, but usually what I do with this is I just glue it down with the sticky back on it. We'll give it a try. Look at that. Did it! Awesome! Now remembering that this gel medium is wet, there's dust in this. There's a lot of dust in this. This is something I've had for a couple of years now. So there's, you know, dog hair and whatnot. And I'm putting this up against the edge, pressing down so it will stick into the gel medium. And then I'm going to let that dry. And while I've got this here, I'm just going to trim this edge. And put this little piece, where do I want this? Right here, like this. This is kind of velvety. Now this is a bit of a ragged edge we have here. We can do something with that. Maybe add some tape or paint or something to kind of camouflage how raggedy that edge is. And I'm just kind of folding the edges of this along the cover. I have a pretty black tape that I think I'll use on this that's kind of perfect for this spread. So there's a bit of gel medium. And then this really gorgeous lace washi. Put some down there as well so that it makes sense. And then I'm just going to go over this border with the matte medium just to make sure that it's really stuck down there, it's really adhered, it's not going anywhere. Good stuff. And then you're going to want this to dry. You don't want to do too many layers while things are wet. That's always a bad idea. You can end up with an awful mess if you do that. So I'm going to give this a good dry and I will be back shortly. This is pretty dry and I want to gild my black velvet with a little bit of fine gold. So I just put some on my finger and I'm just going to kind of rub. I like the way that that pushed it back a little bit so it's not quite popping. Pretty miss. And then for the title, I want to do something along this edge too. The only problem is that there's this really thick paper here that's going to give me a hard time. Maybe what I can do is grab a piece of masking tape like this, put that along this edge, and then my title can go here. So first I'm going to stamp my title with a waterproof ink. Oops. And I think these funky stamps here, these are really cute. I think these were $1.99 at Michael's. Hopefully I have enough room. And then I've got these really beautiful flowers. These are Prima. I'm not sure what this is called. Prima Flowers, item number 571276. NIEVE is the name of the flower. But I'm thinking that works right here. Maybe a smaller one. And smaller. And this is the Beacon 3-in-1 glue. You can get this at Walmart. Got this key that might do the trick. One of the things that's really inspiring me with this series is that I have drawers full of stuff, like just so much ephemera and stuff that I never use, because my usual art journaling style is really quite painterly. So instead of doing, you know, 3D elements and assemblage kind of stuff, I tend just to do paint and drawing and maybe a bit of lettering. So this is a really unusual way for me to go. Love that though. It's really doing it for me. And then I want to kind of seal some of this off. So what I'm going to do is grab some self-leveling gel. I'm using the Tri-Art, but you can get this from Golden as well. And I'm going to apply that with a palette knife. This dries completely transparent and no marks show, so your brush strokes and your palette strokes, none of that will show. It also creates this really glossy finish that acts as a protective coating. And I'm pretty sure you can get kind of an encaustic look with the self-leveling gel too if you tint it. So if you tint it with a little bit of yellow ochre, you can get that kind of amber feeling that you get from encaustic, which is really just a wax. Okay, that's awesome. So we're going to let this completely dry. And then I would normally come back because we're done, but I want you to see what this looks like when it's completely dry. So I will come back when this is completely dry and you can get a sense for how this looks, and I'll see you soon. Okay, so this is what it looks like with the self-leveling gel on it. You can see it has almost an icy, smooth cover or layer on top, and it will stay this glossy, and it's not completely dry yet. It's still a little bit tacky. You could at this point actually etch into this self-leveling gel, which is really fun. You can see here it's not completely dry, so it goes on kind of milky, and then it settles down and it dries completely transparent with this really super high gloss cover. It does not remain too terribly tacky. It'll still have a little bit of stickiness, but you kind of want that, because what that means is if you get something on this in the future, you can wipe it off. Just wipe it right off. And that's the lovely thing about the self-leveling gel, or really any gloss fix. Now what we did to this cover really warped it. I'll show you. Do you see that? Which is actually totally okay, because this book is going to bloom. So this will give us even more room to bloom. And I'm going to be using this little pocket here just for little notes and whatnot throughout our practice together. So there you have it, our very first edition of Wildly Inspired with Effy Wild. A new feature to go live Wednesdays, and I'm hoping for weekly. I have to be careful with making those kinds of promises, because you know, one never knows what's going to happen. I have to teach something else or etc. So for as long as I can, as often as I can, on Wednesdays. Some months you may only see one video from me. Some months you may see every week a new video from me. So stay tuned to the channel. Go ahead and subscribe. You can also access all of the posts on my blog at effywild.com. If you look in the menu at the top, you will see the words Wildly Inspired. Click on that, and all of the posts for this series will be stored on my blog. So excited about this. This is going to be so much fun, guys. I really can't wait to spend time with you. Please remember that if you do play along with me, you can post your work in the Glitter Hood. That's http://facebook.com/groups/the Glitter Hood. Every time I post a video, I will be putting that link in with the video, so there you have it. Yay! Good times! Big smooches, my guys. Talk to you soon. Bye!